Fast forward, ini come out Tony so age politics avenue. Unia podcast or training make we make headlines. Any jembre na idi bi exum ewa ha. Any de unia humbrakti mu se. Ene edi di kanya. Stress so bit ma subscribe to the channel. Unia so bit ma hit notification bell so share na afi Akuffo so ensa into me enkebi. Any de ma unia mame emfa wo enwura eye political highways. Na unia eye basa ya itimi ekọ so ewo hwidi mu. Honorable Addo a Nsutifi now member of parliament. Allegedly, this is to say, or no, and ultimate insight a year, a mebuno, Emma, ultimate attack a year, so yes, sir, Omokohe, now Omo Astope a year galamsa, Ecoso, Ewono. And then, Nahu Akuffo Jema, and Yasim, and no can say, well, copy more court, a money bill, na. It comes along with the condition. Now, in some court, a king and say, Papa no say, obit me at fine a free crime. Akuffo before any umbra na omeji to me, grata answer. You move once a minute. Who build condition? A dog. That's it. So what you age politics up.
We're going to show you exactly what happened and why he's a subject of investigation. He said this after the speaker condemned the alleged attack and denied claims that Parliament is shielding lawmakers from scrutiny. Let's hear from Right Honorable Alban Sumana for Bagbin earlier today on this matter. Take a look.
When we commenced this meeting on the 21st of October 2025, I had cause to remind members about the need for comportment and my intention to ensure strict compliance with the 1992 Constitution and the standing orders of Parliament. While honorable members are granted severe and several privileges and immunities, which serve as procedural guards, in fact, safeguards. These are intended to assist members to undertake their duties and not expected to be a basis for members to be shielded from the effect of alleged unlawful actions. The report of attacks on a team from the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, a task force which we all know has been established to combat illegal mining activities in the country, is most worrying. Also worrying is the fact that the attack was allegedly incited by one of our own, the Member of Parliament for Nsutifi North constituency, to provide all the needed support to the investigation by the Ghana Police Service within the framework of the 1992 Constitution, the laws of this country, and the standing orders of the House. I am made to understand that the member has voluntarily submitted himself to a criminal investigation department of Ghana Police to assist in the investigation, as many members have done in other cases.
Well, so that's the speaker there, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened earlier today in court with respect to this matter. But the majority leader, Mahama, also had this to say about this particular issue regarding the Member of Parliament and he appearing before the CID and eventually being sent to court. This is what Mahama said in Parliament earlier today.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I listened to you carefully, and I thought what I heard was a formal communication on the question of the privileges of members of Parliament. And I am hoping that our brief comments would focus on the question of privileges. I think what I heard you say is that you will not shield any member of this House when they are alleged to have committed offenses and the law enforcement agencies are seeking to investigate and establish whether indeed a crime has been committed for the purposes of being prosecuted or held accountable in any other form, shape, or manner. And you zeroed in on the specific instance of the alleged attack on the anti-Galamsey task force. We all heard in the media that there was an attack on an anti-Galamsey task force in Nsutifi South, and I later got some indication that a member on this side of the House is alleged to have instigated some community members to resist the work of the task force. Mr. Speaker, let me indicate that yesterday I got a call from the Minister for the Interior, Honorable Muntaka, that the IGP needed the member for interrogation. I invited the member, he came to my office, and I was trying to reach Muntaka, I couldn't reach him, so ultimately I had to ask the member to go. If I reach Muntaka, I will call him back. Subsequently, Honorable Muntaka called me back. He was in a meeting when I was calling him. And I told him that I had invited the MP. He was ready to come see whoever he should see. But because we did not hear from him, I had dismissed him. So we scheduled that this morning the member should be sent to the CID headquarters to meet with one of the deputy CID directors for processing. And so this morning he went with our majority chief whip and his lawyer. They received him at CID headquarters, took him through the processes, and I received a call not quite long ago that he has been taken to court, and as we speak, he is actually in court being arraigned. And so let me also indicate that as members of parliament, we do not consider ourselves being above the law.
So that's Mahama Yarga there. The minority leader, Alexander Apenyomakin, also said something about this particular issue, especially on the back of the information that this member of parliament in question did indeed, according to the speaker, voluntarily make himself available to the CID after the invitation yesterday. He was arraigned before court. But this is what Alexander Apenyomakin said on the floor of parliament as well on this.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, democracy provides that the actors must have an opportunity to do politics, share ideas, and have their views, disagree and agree. It is, however, part of democracy also for the core issues of national discourse to be agreed upon by the active stakeholders in this process. Mr. Speaker, the matter you've just raised, Galamsey, is one thing that, for the want of a better word, I must say that we as political leaders, active stakeholders of this democracy, have failed. And I say so without mincing words. We must as political actors, know that there are matters that we have to agree upon and nib it in the bud. My recent recollection of this matter dates me back to 2015 as a young member of the Finance Committee. Honorable Setepe, Minister of Finance, as he then was, appeared before us and lamented how Galamsey was affecting cocoa production.
That's Alexander Apanyomak in there. You see a crowd of people, I mean, young people who thronged this location, attacked this 9-month officer. We're going to put it on the screen right now. And I'm doing this just to put in the context that even though we see a crowd, there are 4 persons who are standing trial for this particular incident, what you're seeing on the screen right now, for now, at least, from what we do know on the face of what happened in court earlier today. These are the 4 individuals we're talking about. These accused persons, the Member of Parliament for the Nsutifi North Constituency, Ebenezer Kwekwado, is one of the accused persons. The others, Zakaria Yakubu, who is at large, Alex, also at large, and others, and you can understand why. The others also at large. But there's this video evidence, video that has gone viral, video that we've been showing since yesterday, also captures clearly the faces of some of the marauding young people who took the law into their own hands, vandalized the vehicle, and attacked these 9-month officials in this particular area within the constituency. So that's for the police CID to analyze this video and identify the faces, to fill up the names as we're seeing with the at large, and the others that are at large. But these are the specifics of the hearing earlier today. In fact, the prosecution requested that the Member of Parliament be remanded for allegedly interfering with the investigation, or in fact, that because he could interfere with investigations in this particular issue. Now, even though this particular request was made by the prosecution, the lawyers for the Member of Parliament urged the court to grant him bail. That's what was done today. The courts indeed did hear that plea, and the bail was granted with these conditions. I'm going to put it on the screen. 150,000 cedis with one surety to be justified. The Member of Parliament is barred from leaving the jurisdiction, that's the Greater Accra region, to any part of the country without prior notice to the investigator. So that's one other condition for this bail. If he has to even go outside of the Greater Accra region, he has to notify the investigator. And that will be subject to either being allowed or otherwise. He's also expected to report once every 2 weeks to the investigator. In this case, the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service. The case has been adjourned to December 1, 2025, December 1. And we heard the members of Parliament talk about this and how the Parliament itself, the Speaker says he will not shield anyone. Let's stay in court a bit further because the Chairman Wontumi was in court this matter as well, what came up in court earlier today. Let's stay a bit further.
Kwengu, Deputy Director General Operations at the National Service Authority. Major, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on Agenda as well.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We do have our video call with us, Mr. James Kluche Aveji, who is the Acting Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and also former Chair of the Public Accounts Committee. Honorable, it's great to have you. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Beatrice. Good evening to the panel members.
We also have with us as well Madam Mary Addo. She's the Executive Director, Transparency International. Ma'am, if you can hear us, good evening to you. Thank you as well for joining us on Agenda once again.
Good evening, Beatrice, and good evening to your viewers and the panelists in studio.
Let me remind you that we're streaming live as well on 3FM 92.7. Do send us your comments and we'll read them back to you. Let me start with you, Mr. Aveji, because you worked as the principal accountant at the Controller and Accountant General's office, I believe, until you entered politics. And you have served both as the chair of the Finance Committee of Parliament and one of the longest serving chair as well of the Public Accounts Committee. If you can help us understand really what it means when we talk about regular audit, how it looks like in terms of the process and structures at any public institution.
Thank you very much, and good evening once again to our viewers and listeners, as well as the members of the panel. Beatrice, thank you very much. First of all, as a country, we are governed by rule of law, and we have enacted laws for ourselves to control and guide our conduct. And one of those laws is the Public Financial Management Act. There were a number of Public Financial Management Acts in the past, but the current one that we are using was passed in 2016. In fact, I was the chair of the Finance Committee when we passed the Public Financial Management Act of 921 of 2016. And then we also have other laws that govern us, like the procurement law, and we also have the internal audit law, internal audit agency law. Then we have the Ghana Audit Service law. All these laws are made to ensure that people who have been entrusted with public funds manage their funds in the interest of the public, so that people do not embezzle the state funds and go scot-free, that when such things happen, people are punished. So when we talk about this public financial management itself, it involves a number of things. But you mentioned about internal audits. Now, internal audit is actually, to me, the way I understand and which I am practicing now at Security and Exchange Commission is that the internal audit is like the eye of management. Why do I say so? As the head of corporate entity or as a manager or CEO sitting in your office, when requests come from your various departments to you for approval, you need somebody to do the background check and see if right things are being done. If the financial laws are being complied with, if all the regulation, procurement, whatever system is put in place are being complied with, that person is the internal auditor. But what I have realized, or what I've noticed as the chair of the Public Accounts Committee in the past, is that most heads of entities, most CEOs, do not want to use the service of the internal auditors. So that is one of the reasons why we're having these challenges of infractions here and there. Because if the internal audit unit is working effectively, if heads of entities are using the service of the internal auditors, they will be able to ensure that things are done in compliance with the law. So if you don't use the internal auditor, you do the wrong thing. And when the external auditors, which is the audit service, which is governed by Article 187 of the Constitution, which establishes the office of the Auditor General, and asks the Auditor General to audit all public accounts of Ghana and report to Parliament. If you don't use the service of the internal auditor, you end up doing the wrong thing, and the external auditors will come and unearth those wrong things and report them in the report that they submit to Parliament. So the use of the internal audit units by the heads of entities is very critical. Where I am now as the Director General of Security and Exchange Commission, there is nothing that comes to my table which involves spending state money, which I will not refer to the internal auditor to check for me if the right thing is being done, if it is in compliance with the law, whether it's a procurement or not. So I encourage all heads of entities, ministers, chief directors, to use the service of the internal auditors. In a way, will reduce the compliance infractions that we see all the time, every year.
So, Ms. Aveji, I want to get you clearly. You're saying that, I mean, if you look at the Internal Audit Agency Act 2003, Act 658, it spells out clearly that we must have an internal audit unit. Are you claiming by your submission that a lot of public institutions have conveniently decided not to use the unit? And that has been allowed to go on because we have chief directors, which are supposed to be, as it were, the heads of these ministries and institutions. Why have we allowed that to happen, if I got you correctly? That they are bypassing the internal audit unit.
That is what I'm saying.
We ayen sama hodo tim ko so channel so mamna o so jembre e wo da sene so bad yen e dia dombi e domi e be samba wrem na ya suno kwanso aha e ji